am the Irish guy, and right, today I'm going to take a look at every Premier League club and find one player who has earned my respect this season. And I know what you're thinking. Not one of them would care. Even if one of them accidentally stumbles upon this thumbnail whilst their son watches Sidemen videos, they ain't gonna care if I respect them or not. Me, some little internet gremlin who looks like an unfinished jigsaw puzzle? I mean, to famous millionaires such as these, my respect is worth about as much to them as the opinions of a bumblebee would to me. But go on then, let's just have a look. Alright, let's go. Arsenal, Aaron Ramsdale. Okay, you might think it's weird that Arsenal are hunting down a first Premier League crown in 20 years. And yet I'm saying the one who's earned my respect the most is that smiley little munchkin on the bench. The one who only gets wheeled out to play Brentford every 6 months. I mean, all that's in Ramsdale's job description these days is just to study up on the bees. I mean, he's probably been such a swat. He's even watched Jerry Seinfeld's awful bee movie. I mean, surely it's got to be better than his awful Frosties film, which made me question if I was already in hell. But as no footballer in the Premier League is having a more emotionally torturous season than Ramsdale. This is somebody who thought he had made it after multiple relegations from this division. Here he was now as Arsenal #1 goalkeeper in the Premier League, looking for a title and looking to cement himself as England #1. He even gets given the security of a fat 5-year deal a year ago, and then he gets replaced. This must be like an X Factor winner getting dumped by Simon Cowell's label within months. Ramsdale is heartbroken, but to his credit, we never hear from him anymore. Sure, at the start of the season, yeah, he had a dad more publicly embarrassing than John Fury, but since then, Ramsdale has kept his head down, clearly banned his dad from podcasts, and he has never moaned or pushed for a January move away to save his Euro 2024 hopes. He has been a model pro. Lads, today is his birthday.
Happy birthday, Aaron!
And you know what? He probably is happily munching on cake and praying for a Spurs win tonight, when lesser individuals would probably be hiding in David Raya's lawn, poisoning his children's buddy rabbits. I mean, Jens Lehmann was a legitimate Arsenal invincible, and yet he was so insecure about the new competition that he looked like he wanted to flush Manuel Nunez's head down a toilet just to prove who was boss. So, fair play, Aaron. You have my respect. Aston Villa Lucadinha. I'll be honest, I thought Lucadinha was done at Villa Park. When Unai Emery's favourite left-back Alex Moreno was brought in last year, I thought it meant that this overpaid French left-back was a finished lump of earwax and that he would now be regretting saying no to that move to Newcastle. I thought he was to Villa what Matt Target is now to Newcastle. I mean, even now, when Eddie Howe turns up sleepy to training, he probably needs a minute or two to remember what this forgotten bloke's name is. I thought that was a Digna's future too, that he was just part of the ugly Steven Gerrard furniture that Emery would happily dump in a swamp. Digna has played 45 times this season, cramming in over 3,000 minutes. Despite the left-back competition, this is the most games this man has ever managed in a single season. Oh yeah, and he's clearly played well enough to help Villa qualify for the Champions League. So, well done. He isn't actually the 30-year-old bloated teddy bear that he thought he was. Bournemouth Mark Travers. Can someone please give Mark Travers a hug? Lads, I cannot express the shock I experienced when I saw Mark Travers appear on Match of the Day this month. I thought this man's Premier League career was doomed. A young Ireland international goalie who helped the Cherries get promoted under Scott Parker, then played the first 4 games of last season and promptly conceded 16 goals, including 9 at Anfield. I mean, Travers played 15 times for Bournemouth last season. He lost 12 of them. I thought that 9-0 defeat had just ruined his confidence to such a point that he now given up on trying to sleep and just spent every night howling at the moon like a pregnant wolf. I thought he was now another Angus Gunn? I mean, especially considering Travers enjoyed a pretty rotten loan spell at Stoke before Christmas, losing 7 of his 13 championship games. But the fact he's now come back into the team, forcing Neto, a former Barcelona and Juventus goalie, to the bench. Wow. Travers has played the last 4 games, keeping clean sheets against Wolves and Brighton, making a bunch of saves against Arsenal away. Travers, you absolute legend. For someone who conceded 9 in the match last season, I assumed he'd be bombarded with PTSD flashbacks, even just trying to swallow a spoonful of Cocoa Pops. But to be keeping clean sheets in this league now and rip the shirt off the back of someone who used to play with Messi. Wow, Mark, wow. Brentford Yohan Wissa. Pretty simple. I don't think I truly appreciated how good Yohan Wissa was. This 27-year-old Congolese forward was only ever a 6-goal-a-season footballer, but to be fair, he's come alive this season. 11 goals and 2 assists, looking absolutely refreshed after the African Nations Cup, where he helped Dr. Congo reach the semis. To be fair, after listening to that hairy ginger who ran the length of Africa, someone who looks like an extra off Game of Thrones, someone who looks like he's always got a sandwich stored in his beard, I'm scared of ever going to Dr. Congo. They'd probably eat my brains in a pie. Actually, my brains. I said Ipswich would finish bottom. Yeah, you could fit them all on a Rice Krispie bun. Brighton, Marco Mattany. Okay, to be honest, I'm just excited. Brighton don't just have one Irish goal machine, they have two. Marco Mattany, 19 years old. He has been undeniable. 10 goals in 11 games for the Brighton B team, and now he's forced his way onto the bench for multiple Premier League games this season, and just played 3 games in a row. Considering he's only 9 months younger than Evan Ferguson, he could have just given up on ever trying to break into the Seagulls team. Oh no, Ferguson was the golden boy, so what's the point of trying? But no, this £50,000 signing from Cork, he's been magnificent. Burnley, Ariana Muric. Look, there aren't too many players to admire in this rotten Burnley setup, but you know what? I'm going to give Ariana Muric a big fat pat on the back for having the inner strength to show his face every week. After being on the bench for the first 2/3 of the season, this ex-Man City goalie then comes into the team for another ex-Man City goalie. Honestly, the academy goalkeeping coaches at Man City should probably lie low for a while, because Burnley's season is a terrible example of their work. But listen, Muric has been awful, but after kicking the ball off Calvert-Lewin into his own net for the only goal at Everton, one of the most comical howlers in Premier League history, to then cost his team 2 precious points the next week by letting a back pass trickle in under his foot against Brighton, to then have the stomach to come out again and show his face to the world even after that blooper reel, even then making a bunch of saves and win at Sheffield United, and to help Burnley leave Old Trafford with a point, then well done, because most goalies would be too embarrassed to turn up for work. It's been like in your 9 to 5 office job and you accidentally pooed on the boss's foot whilst out to lunch. Yeah, you're probably going to phone in sick for a month. So, well done, Muric. Chelsea, Conor Gallagher. It sounds weird to say, but this is the season where Conor Gallagher became a man. Lads, I'll be honest, I thought he had blown his Chelsea career last season when he was doing well on loan at Crystal Palace, and Thomas Tuchel was telling the media how he was excited to work with him. I didn't really believe him. I mean, Chelsea were champions of the world, while Gallagher was a mid-table rugrat who looked a bit like a male Barbie. It's not like if Pep Guardiola were to tell the world now that he can't wait to work with Tommy Doyle next season after his loan spell at Wolves. I mean, what's Doyle gonna do? Mickey the T? Gallagher even got himself sent off in his first Premier League start at Stamford Bridge. I thought he was finished. Now just burnt toast ready for the bin. But this season, he's been given the captain's armband and has been given nearly 4,000 minutes on the pitch. That is 48 games. He has started every single one of his 35 Premier League appearances. He's chipped in with 5 goals and 9 assists. That is good. You know how incredible it is to squeeze 50 games into a season for a team who aren't even in European competition? Once he plays the final 2 matches this week to take his tally to 50, lads, that's more games than Frank Lampard managed in 2003, 2008, 2012 and 2014 for Chelsea. That is equal to the number of games Lampard played in 2006 when he nearly won the Ballon d'Or. And by the way, Lampard always had Champions League football. To play 50 times when you don't even have midweek European nights to boost the numbers. Fair play, Gallagher. Crystal Palace, Jean-Philippe Mateta. Pretty simple. I assumed that Jean-Philippe Mateta was another wet sponge centre forward up front for Crystal Palace. This is a club that's been cursed when it comes to buying strikers in the Premier League. Yes, Christian Benteke briefly worked for 5 minutes, but he was soon back to being a broken Mr. Potato Head. But Mateta, he has exploded with 16 goals this season. Fair play, Jean. You're better than the stiff pumpkin I thought you were. Everton, Ashley Young. Ashley Young has been earning my respect every year since he quit Manchester United. Seriously. Considering I remember him scoring goals for Watford in the Premier League back in 2006, the fact he is still going now, it makes no biological sense. This is a man who is older than Wayne Rooney, and that man looks like he would vomit half digested cheeseburgers all over the Sky Studio if they made him even do 4 jumping jacks. The fact that an old Young squeezed nearly 60 games into 2 seasons at Inter Milan, and then repeated the trick in his 2 seasons at Aston Villa, the fact he turns 40 years old next year and yet still plays every week for Everton. Wow! 33 games is a lot, but lads, Young has started Everton's last 5 home games where they've won all the matches without conceding a goal. This old badger has been part of that impenetrable defense. How? His diet must be nauseatingly perfect. He's probably the type of guy who'll get nervous in a restaurant if somebody's barbecued sausage is even pointing in the direction of his vegan butternut squash. He's that fella who'll have a 6-pack when he's 64. He is nowhere near as good, obviously, but this is someone who still has the professionalism of Ronaldo. Fulham, João Palhinha. Yeah, João Palhinha is a man who had his dream Bayern Munich transfer collapse last summer at the last minute. But again, he's just come back to work, never moaned, and has been class for Fulham, even signing a new contract without even a release clause. Can you imagine how devastated he was being forced to fly back to London on deadline day last August after literally wearing the Bayern Munich kit? He probably demanded the waitress to leave him a bottle of rum, but no, he's been very professional. Liverpool Conor Bradley, nothing but respect. A year ago, nobody knew what a Conor Bradley was. The Northern Irish fullback was about as famous as a garden slug, but now he's 20 years of age, has played over 20 games for Liverpool this season, and looked absolutely class at right back. He even got a goal and 2 assists against Chelsea on just his second start. This is someone whose dad sadly passed away during his breakthrough, and yet he still looked great in that cup final win over Chelsea, where Ben Chilwell tried to bully him. Yes, a nearly 30-year-old Chilwell was picking on a child barely out of his teens. Who is he, John Fury? The best word I can use for Bradley is unfazed, completely unfazed by the pressure of playing for Liverpool, of trying to replace a world superstar like Trent. He's been great, and even scored his first goal for Northern Ireland in a win over Scotland. He has been terrific. Why couldn't he have been born in Dublin instead of County Tyrone? Luton down, Andros Townsend. Look, Luton's relegation is kind of sad, but for Andros Townsend, this man has saved his career. Look at where he was in September of last year. He was already being banished to Talk Sport, where he told everyone how devastated he was, how he was literally in tears when he had his potential Burnley deal cancelled, the side of his bottom lip quivering. In the same sweaty studio where Gabriel Bonlahor has probably stored 15 emergency sausage rolls in the walls, it looked like Townsend had been Danny Roast or Daniel Sturridge. I mean, it wasn't official retirement, but nobody wanted him anymore. Not even Burnley. The most amount of football he'd be getting now would be playing in the office 6-a-side tournament against Goldbridge and Ollie Mers. I mean, that'll be enough to make him want to drown himself in a bowl of mashed potato in disgust. But he got a Luton deal late in the season. In October, he could have let his professionalism slip without a pre-season, without even a club, or without even training for the first 8 league games. He could have since become addicted to Smarties and chicken wings that were being served in the Talksport canteen. He could have just thrown the towel in and decided to become best friends with the staff at Burger King. But no, he's played 30 games this season. He was a semi-retired pundit, and yet this season, he's assisted goals against Arsenal and Man City, and even scored the winning goal against Newcastle, his former club, a team who not even Mbappe could score against. Well done, Andros. Respect. Man City, Josko Vardiol. Josko Vardiol is a very quietly brilliant debut season, hasn't he? Most players struggled in the first season working under Pep, and so I think everyone assumed that this £80 million Croatian beefcake centre-back would be taking it slow this season, and he did. He was on the bench 7 times before Christmas. He already lost to Arsenal and Newcastle early doors. Everyone sort of wrote him off, especially after he came back into the team to concede 4 at Stamford Bridge. But he has been world class since Christmas. Lads, he has managed to squeeze 39 games out of the season so far. He scored 5 goals in his last 7 games from left back, including a ridiculous strike against Real Madrid. Kyle Walker even offered him the opportunity to complete a hat-trick against Fulham last weekend. But he actually turned down the penalty. To be fair, Walker shouldn't have been offering him that penalty anyway. Kyle, you're the captain now. Give it to the designated penalty taker. Goal difference is important. These penalties aren't sweets. You're not offering him a Kit Kat you found on the floor. Fair play, Josko, for staying professional and saying no. Man United, Jonny Evans. Last season, Jonny Evans was an injury-riddled, forgotten lump of cheese who had a nightmare season. Don't forget, he played every minute of Leicester's first 10 games, being part of a horrendous defense which conceded 22 goals. I ain't letting him off the hook for that. He was a hideous, off-the-pace sock puppet. When he got injured, they were 19th in the league on 4 points, and they never recovered. He sat out most of the season with a wonky calf, only coming back into the team for the final 3 games. By his own admission, he was considering retirement. Even by the 31st of August, he still didn't have a club after his Leicester deal ran out. Him rejoining Manchester United on September 1st. What? This was like when Michael Owen somehow got a Manchester United deal after an injury-plagued relegation with Newcastle. Although, shockingly, Owen was actually only in his 20s when he rocked up at Old Trafford. I know. Didn't it feel like he was 36? He was like that unwanted ugly puppy at the pound. He was having to choose between Manchester United and Hull. Evans was probably the same. He couldn't believe his luck when he got that phone call from Old Trafford. Let's be honest, this is somebody whose Manchester United career ended in disgrace. Never really trusted again by Louis van Gaal after playing in that miserable 4-0 loss at MK Dons. He was then suspended for his final weeks at Manchester United for apparently spitting at Papi Cisse. Honestly, his final ever Manchester United start was ruined by allegedly chucking around snotty phlegm. That suspension was the reason that he never reached 200 games for Manchester United, and he had to leave on a really annoying 198. Since then, he's even had Man City testing his loyalty by sniffing around him while at West Brom. The fact Evans has managed to come back and play nearly 30 games, breezing past the 200 game mark. He hadn't played a Champions League match in 10 years, and yet here he was up against Bayern Munich at the age of 36. Fair play for not giving up, Johnny. Newcastle, Lewis Miley. I am in awe of Lewis Miley. Yes, this is a teenage child who played on the final day of the last season and hit the crossbar against Chelsea, but so? Do you know how many flash in the pan final day kids lead us all on? I mean, remember when when Josh Harrop scored for Manchester United on the final day in 2017? Where is he now? Probably cleaning up donkey stick on a farm. But Miley, he has been thrown into the deep end. At the age of 17, he was playing in the Champions League, playing the full 90 minutes away at PSG. He was chalking up an assist from midfield against the great AC Milan. He played 17 league games in a row, scoring his first goal against Fulham. He's played in a time-weird derby. He started in a win over Man City. Okay, to be fair, he was dragged off at half-time in that cup game. That could have knocked his confidence, but it didn't. At all. He has been flawless. Don't forget, he is still the little bro. His older brother, Jamie, is at Newcastle too. That guy is 20. And yet Lewis is the one who's been getting all the minutes on the pitch. Nottingham Forest, Callum Hudson-Odoi. But he's just been magical. Callum Hudson-Odoi in the second half of the season. Wow. Now I understand why he had all that hype in the Chelsea Academy. He's been special. Sheffield United, none. Absolutely nobody. Zilch, nothing. Next. Tottenham, Guglielmo Vicario. Yeah, Italian goalkeepers don't usually adjust quickly to the Premier League, but Guglielmo Vicario has been pretty impressive. I just thought he was going to be another Pierluigi Collini. Fair play. West Ham, Danny Ings. How? How has Danny Ings not gone on a violent rampage when he's being this disrespected? It was only 5 minutes ago that both he and Ollie Watkins were not only competing for a starting spot in the Aston Villa team, but also a spot in the England squad. Ings was scoring for England before the last Euros, and yet now at the age of just 31, he's been given the minutes of a 39-year-old man. This is someone who nearly won a Golden Boot recently, and yet David Moyes let him squirm out of the pitch for a grand total of 384 minutes in the Premier League. 3 Premier League starts all season. That's it. Barely any minutes in the Europa League either. The fact that he has not moaned and sulked like a petulant brat. The fact he didn't throw a Tevez and refused to come off the bench. The fact he didn't go on strike to force through a move away. The fact we haven't heard a peep. Well done, Danny, for keeping your cool. Wolves, Craig Dawson. I keep waiting for Craig Dawson to be a burnt out finished sausage. I've been expecting that from him for the last 4 seasons, ever since relegation with Watford. But to be fair, even at 34, he just keeps on playing well. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments what player has earned your respect. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.